Would you ever hunt down one of your customers on social media and shame them because they didn't leave a tip? Hey, my name's Michael Thibault, recovering restaurant owner, author, coach, owner of Done For You Marketing Systems. Thank you so much for stopping by for this week's edition of Mike's Money Making Minutes. And there was a story last week about an ice cream shop owner here in Detroit that actually used a credit card slip and found a customer that didn't leave a tip and shamed them on social media, and actually reached out and contacted them and shamed them for not leaving a tip on their purchase. I think she bought 2 ice cream cones. So the news got a hold of this, and they interviewed the woman, and she's like, I was just a little short. I'm a regular customer. I usually tip, but I'm a little short this month. And she was being conscientious, right? So this restaurant owner is taking a whole bunch of heat, and I'm sure he probably broke a couple laws for tracking this person down, using their credit card slip, and then stalking them on social media and shaming them for not leaving a tip, which brings up a really good point. Because with restaurants, and as a restaurant owner, back in the day, owning 6 restaurants over a 24-year time span, you wrestle with this, right? Like, how do you handle the tipping situation? Do you pool your tips? Do you add it in for parties of 8 or more? Or you just let it fly? There's all different schools of thought, and there's definitely it's an individual choice between the owners, the managers, and your service staff, who are your tipped employees. The way I always viewed it was pretty simplistic, right? I wanted to be fair to my customers, and I also wanted to be fair to my staff. And like I said, it's different for everybody, so everybody has their own opinion. At my restaurants, I didn't add on, the mandatory. You see a lot. Back then, it was 15%. Now it's 18 or 20%, for parties of 8 or more. And I did that not, because it was easier for me. I did it because that's what my staff wanted. They didn't want us to add on a mandatory gratuity charge for these parties, because I hired really good staff and they knew they'd make more than that. And sometimes when you add on an automatic gratuity or service charge or whatever you call it, the customer will leave that and not leave anything else on top of it. So, my staff was typically getting between 20 and 25%, because, like I said, I look for really good people, and those are the ones that you put on your bigger parties. So we didn't have a mandatory gratuity or service charge on our larger parties. And I see so many restaurants nowadays that are adding on, these service charges, and it all stemmed from COVID, right? Back in COVID, you saw restaurants adding on, 15, 20% service charge, and some of them have left that, and it's an extra line item. And I still see restaurants today, or they charge an extra, couple percent on top of the bill because of credit card fees. I've seen 15% service charges, and that's not gratuity, right? That's just a service charge on top. Personally, I don't like to see that. I don't like to see a bunch of charges. Just charge me for it, and include it in the price of your menu item. So it's just, one charge. And your staff's going to make more tips, because people typically don't tip, on an extra service charge, on the bottom of their bill. So, like I said, it's all an individual decision, what you're comfortable with and what works for you. But from a previous restaurant owner and a customer experience, I don't like to see a bunch of charges or mandatory charges on my bill when I get it. I like to make the decision, and tipping is a discretionary option that shows appreciation for great service. Yes, it's a part of their wages, and people should tip, but it should be equal to the value and the service that they received. So like I said, you can make your own decision. You can do whatever you want. It's your business and what you feel comfortable with and what works. And there's a lot of different options out there. I'm just presenting you with a couple different ones. But it all comes down to making sure that you have the best staff available and they're giving exceptional service creating that memorable dining experience. That's what your job is as a restaurant owner, to market your memorable dining experience. Having good food and great service, that's just the price of admission nowadays. So make sure that you're taking care of your guests. If you need help finding great staff, and who doesn't, right? Because that's an ongoing issue. You can click the link below, and I actually did a live training previously, and we recorded it. You can click the link below and watch that live training. It'll show you how to find, attract, and hire a superstar staff for your restaurant. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.